Hi, this is your old buddy Chuck again from Mighty Fine Gardens. Today we're going to show you how to install one of our towers in our really simple to use vegetable garden kits. The first thing you do is take the piece of ground cloth that we give you in each kit, lay it on the ground where you want your garden to be, and you're going to take the staples, commercial grade 8-inch staples that we send you, and you're going to secure the cloth to the ground with your hammer, or if you want, you can come by my place and I'll loan you my orange hammer. You take the staples and the hammer and staple the two corners of the cloth first. Then we're going to stretch the cloth and go along, and every 2 feet or so drive a staple in, stretch the cloth, drive a staple, stretch the cloth, drive a staple. That way you'll end up with a nice tight piece of ground cover that will prevent any weeds or grass from growing up in your garden. It'll look terrific all the time and you won't have to mess with, as I said, any weeds at all. Okay? I'm going to show you how to drive the staples and then we'll take it from there. The first thing you do is take a staple and secure the corner of the ground cloth. Once you've got that done, move along the long edge, maybe 2 feet or so, place the staple like that, and just tap it in. Nail it so that it's down snug on the ground, and then proceed every couple of feet, take another staple, and just simply stretch the cloth with your fingers until it's nice and tight, and drive another staple in. And then drive staples in all the way around the cloth until it's tight as a proverbial drum, and you're done with that. It's very simple, and you'll have fun. And don't hit your thumb. All right, campers. Today we're going to show you how to install your Mighty Fine tower. The first step after you've put the ground cloth in is to pound the pipe into the ground so you have a nice stable pole to put the pots on. I highly recommend that you go to Home Depot and buy a little magnetic level like this. They're about $3 or $4. You attach the level and just let it sit on the pipe, and then you take this bolt that we include in the kit, and this is very important. You slip the bolt into the top of the pipe. That acts as a cushion so that you don't accidentally mushroom out the pipe by pounding on it directly or hitting this too hard. You want to be gentle. It doesn't take a lot of muscle. So using that level, you hold the pipe up fairly straight, as straight as you can, and you just begin to tap this pipe. And by tapping it like that, you'll drive it down into the ground a little at a time, and you want to drive it about 2 feet in, or 2.5 feet, depending on how tall you are and what kind of soil you have. If you're under 4 feet tall, drive it in a little farther. If you're over 7 feet tall, don't drive it in too much. But you can kind of adjust it to your own personal height. Okay, so we've tapped it in now. It's in about 2 feet. It's nice and steady. So we're ready to proceed by placing the reservoir in position, and we'll show you how to do all that in just a moment. Thanks. All right, we're back showing you how to put in your Mighty Fine garden. We've driven the tube into the ground so you have a nice strong support to hold up all the pots. And now we'll show you how to put the pots on the pole, attach the pump and the plumbing that comes up out of the reservoir, and you're in business, as they say, and ready to start growing your own vegetables. The first thing that we do after we've driven the pipe in is to take this support tube, which comes in the kit, and just simply drop it right over the pipe. Then you take the washer that we give you, and that washer simply slides over the pipe and rests on top of the larger white pipe, like that. That allows the Mighty Fine pots to rotate. So depending on where you put your garden, if you don't have even light, you can rotate the tower once a week or so and make sure that all the plants are getting the right amount of sunlight. So now you've got the tower in the ground, the sleeve is on, and the rotation washer is sitting on top of that sleeve, and we're ready to put the pots on. It's very simple. You just pick one up, holding it with both hands, set it on top of the pipe so that the hole is lining up, and give it a little wiggle like that. and work your way through the coconut media, and then just let it slide down and it'll rest just like that. Okay? So you take all 4 pots that normally come with a tower and stack them up like this, and just simply slide each one down the pole. It'll rest in the notches of the one below it, and as you can see, it just takes a few seconds. Okay, there, now we've placed all 4 pots, and next we're going to show you how to put the small dispersal pot on top of these, and then we'll hook up the plumbing and the pump, and you're ready to go. Okay, future mighty finers, we've put the pots onto the pole. They've slid right down and they're all nesting in their nice little notches like this. Now we're going to put the dispersal pot on, hook up the plumbing and the pump, and you are ready to rock and roll. So you simply take this pot, place it on the pipe, work it down so that it's touching the coconut, just like that. Then you take the rubber bands that we give you and place one over the pipe, slide that down a little bit so you can still see where it is, and let that sit. Now the reservoir is pretty much up to you what you use for a reservoir. This is a 35-gallon garbage can. You can use big or little, it doesn't matter. The bigger it is, the less often you'll have to fill it up. But as long as it holds water and nutrients, that's the main thing. So you place that fairly close to your first tower, maybe 2 or 3 feet away. Take the pump that we send you and your white tubing, and take one end of the tube and slip it over the nipple that sticks up on the pump like that. And then you take the pump and you place it in the bottom of the reservoir. One thing you'll have to do when you buy a reservoir is drill a couple of holes in it like this. One will be for the pipe, the white tube, and one will be for the electrical cord on the pump to exit, so that you can plug it in and keep this lid on nice and tight, because you really don't want to have squirrels and chipmunks and little critters go for a swim. It's kind of hard for them to get out of the pool. So you take the white pipe like this, thread it through that hole in the top of the reservoir. Try not to choke yourself with the tube, because it can really slow down the installation if you're choking. Bring the tube up. And then take this white tee that we give you. That'll be a real snug fit. It'll fit right over that tube, your steel support tube, and just slide this through it like that. Once you have this in place, take the power cord of your pump and make sure that that's exiting the top of the reservoir also. Pull that through. We'll plug that in later. Oop, I'm back. Then the end of this tube is secured using this little sleeve that we include in the kit. You just bend the tube about 4 inches up from the end, bend it like that, squeeze it with all your might, and then just slip this sleeve over the end of it and push it on as far as you can. And that will seal off the end of the pipe, and you're almost done. We're going to now insert the black micro tubing that will actually carry the nutrient from the reservoir down into the dispersal pot and then down into all the plants. Okay, mighty finers, now we're going to insert the micro tube into the main feed line with this little tool that we give you. It's very easy. Towards the top of the pipe, you just poke a hole with your precision machine, take the black tube and insert it into the white pipe, and then just push it down until you feel it stop. At that point, you take the other end, and that green rubber band that you slipped over the tube a few minutes ago, got to reach down in there and get it. Just kind of like a garter belt at your senior prom, one of those deals. Or maybe it was a wedding, I can't remember. You take that little black tube, insert it into the green rubber band, and let it stick down below the rubber band about a ½ an inch or so, and the rubber band will hold this perfectly into place. Then when the pump comes on, when the timer turns it on, the nutrients will come up the white tube and into this little black tube, and that's actually what feeds the plants. The nutrient will come down into this dispersal pot, and by the time it gets to the bottom of this pot, it'll have a wetting pattern about that big, and then it will drip down through all the pots and feed the plants really well. After they've been fed, because we're using coconut and there's no soil, no dirt, which incidentally has bugs and disease in it, and this does not, it's designed to let the liquid flow right through it. So after about 10 or 15 minutes, the coconut mixture will tend to dry out, and that allows a large amount of oxygen to come into the roots of the plants, and that's really what makes the plants grow very rapidly and makes them so happy that they won't ever want to leave home. Now, we've put the pots on, the reservoir's ready to go. You plug the pump in, it's plugged into the timer, which we've sent you pre-programmed, and you're just about ready to start putting plants in here. In our next little segment, we're going to show you how to mix the nutrients, and then you're off to the vegetable races. Thanks a lot. Okay, Mighty Finers, now we're going to show you how to mix up the magic juice, which technically is called your nutrients. It's 2 parts. You get this in the kit. You get the white and the blue. I'll show you how to mix the blue. You do the same exact thing with the white, and it's very simple. You take the entire contents of the Ziploc, get a 1-gallon container, open the Ziploc, and after having filled the jar about halfway full of water, pour all this in there, shake it in real good, and you are now an expert nutrition mixer-upper. Okay, so now you've poured the envelope into the contents of this jar, put the lid on, and now the technical part of the process is called the shake and bake. We're going to pick this up, and because it's only half full, there's plenty of room to shake and bake. So you give this a good shake. You want to see that again? Okay, there we go. All right, now that's probably pretty well dissolved. So you take the lid off and then fill it up with water to the 1-gallon mark, okay? Okay, that was close. Okay, so now I have a gallon of blue concentrate. You're going to take a second container and your white and do the same exact thing. Pour this all into the 1-gallon container, shake and bake, and then top it off at the 1-gallon mark, and you have a gallon of blue concentrate and a gallon of white concentrate. Those are your nutrients. In every kit, we give you your own personal measuring cup for you to treasure and keep. The cup has ounces on it, so following the formula that we give you in a sheet of paper inside the box, and we also email it to you, and if necessary, we'll have somebody out on your front lawn every Tuesday morning at 9 reciting it, the little simple formula. It's a ½ an ounce of the blue and a ½ an ounce of the white concentrates for every gallon of water in your reservoir. So if you have a 50-gallon reservoir, that would be 25 ounces, ½ an ounce per gallon of the blue and 25 ounces of the white. So you simply, this is after you've filled the reservoir up with water, or while you're doing that. You take your concentrate, find where it says ounces on on what is now your own personal measuring cup and just simply pour out 25 ounces, which is about 3 cups incidentally, of the magic juice. You then go over to the reservoir and be sure you remove the lid before you pour this. That's a must. Pour this in, then come back, fill up 3 cups or 25 ounces, again if it's 50 gallons, of the white, which will be almost clear once it's dissolved. Pour that in the reservoir, put the lid on, and you're in business. The pump and timer will take it from there and they'll feed the plants, and pretty soon you're going to have gigantic lettuce following you around practically. Okay? Next, we're going to show you how to do seed rafts and how to grow your own plants. Stay tuned. Okay, my fellow vegetable musketeers. Every kit comes with one of these. We call it a seed raft. This is how the big boys start millions of flowers or millions of plants all at once in bigger versions of this. This is a really efficient way and really simple way to start seeds and turn them into great plants. So you take the seeds that either we give you or you can order your own, gourmet to the teeth, lettuce, any kind of vegetable that you want. And we always send you some extra coconut, so you simply take the raft and fill up the individual little seed cells of the raft. Like that. Try to make a mess because it's fun. Once you have the cells full like that, take your thumbs and go down the rows and compress them. You don't muscle it, but just push it down like that. And this will make sure that when you go to remove what will become a plant plug, that the plug will stay in one nice little plug and it won't fall apart on you. So once you pushed it down and firmed it up like that, then just top them off again. And you're ready to go. Now this one little raft has 48 cells on it, so you'll be able to grow 48 individual plants. Depending on how many towers you have, you're going to have a lot of plants. Once it's full like this, you simply, I like to use a number 2 pencil, but you can use your finger, you can do anything. You just make little indentations down the rows, like that. You place the seeds in there, and if you're doing lettuce or carrots or something that's really, really small, I recommend you do this, put some newspaper down on your kitchen table and use a really good light, or even a flashlight works. Because when you drop that little seed in here, unless you're Superman with supervision, you're going to lose sight of that seed unless it's really brightly lit. When you plant one row, say you plant one row with red lettuce, take one of the plant labels that we give you and stick it at the end of that row, and don't start a second row until you've labeled your first row. Again, I'm speaking from experience. You'll forget what you did and you'll get all goofed up. So you plant your seeds, you put your plant labels in on each row, and then all you simply do is take this pan which we give you, fill it up with water, and place that in there so that it's floating. The holes in the bottom of these are precisely sized so that when this is floating in water, it'll suck up just the right amount of moisture to keep the seeds moist but not too wet, and they will sprout like crazy. Depending on what the seed is, in just maybe 4 or 5 days or up to maybe 10 days, you'll end up with baby plants. This is lettuce. This lettuce is about a week and a half old and it's ready to transplant. When it has some leaves like this, they're good to go. What I like to do is the night before I'm going to transplant the seedlings, I take the raft out of the water, out of the pan of water, and just set it aside and let it dry out a little bit. It's easier that way to pop the plugs out. And then, once it's had a day or so to dry, you take the seed raft, set it on its edge, take a number 2 pencil, or in this case, my pen, and you insert that in the hole, hold your hand out here, just like you used to do on Halloween, and that little plug will pop out right into your hand. And this is ready to place directly into your mighty fine pot. You dig a little hole with your hand, set it in, firm it up, and in about a week this is going to be yum yum lettuce ready to go. Okay? That's all there is to it. Raising your own plants is so simple that I can even do it. All right, mighty finers. Now we're going to show you how to take the compressed coconut, and the white stuff is called perlite. We send both of these to you in the kit. We're going to show you how to mix your soil, the grow media as we call it, and put it into the pots, and then you're really on your way. So you take the bag of perlite and set that aside at first. Take the cubes of coconut in a container like this monster in front of me and drop the coconut into the container. Keep your perlite off to the side, and then take a hose, turn the hose on, of course, and then once the cubes of coconut are down in your mixing bucket, squirt a lot of water in there. The coconut will absorb 7 or 8 times its own weight in water, which is quite a bit. It goes from being a skinny little block to a big fat blob of coconut, which you then can just stir up with your fingers. It gets kind of powdery and real nice. So squirt water in there, and you'll see the coconut cubes will begin to swell up as they absorb the water. Put lots of water in and then go have a drink of water yourself. And when you come back, the coconut will have absorbed all the water that you put in this container and be ready to mix with the perlite. So you then take the bag of perlite, which we give you, and just simply dump it into the container where the coconut is. Take your hands and mix it all up. It's fun. It reminds me of when I was 3 or 4 making mud pies with my sisters. Mix it all up so that it's nice and uniform. You'll see the little pieces of white perlite all through the coconut, and then you're ready to put it into the pots. Depending on how many towers you've ordered, you'll have a stack of these white mighty fine pots. This one is already partially full. I'll fill it up and show you how exactly we do it. So you take handfuls of the coconut and perlite mixture, which will be moist and crumbly as you can see, and simply fill the pots up. You'll notice on the inside of each lobe of these pots, there's a little thin line that runs around the circumference of the pot. That's where the level of coconut should come up to. So that's the level that you want when you stack the pots up and they're ready to put plants in. So fill the pots up to that line, kind of smooth them off. And at that point, you're ready to slide them over the pipe, stack them up, and put your plants in. It's very easy, and it's actually quite a bit of fun.